Howdy, howdy, howdy. How are you guys doing? Welcome to Cliff Notes episode number 230, I think. Hope y'all are all doing great on this extended long holiday weekend. Is happy the right word? I'm not sure happy is the right word, but a good, memorable Memorial Day to y'all. Of all holidays we celebrate, this is the ones I always want to make sure we remember what it's all about. The people that gave so much for this country, the families that gave so much in giving up their loved ones as well. Important to remember that. Now, I didn't put a background of a bunch of flags. My Instagram teaser didn't have it. I've done that for the past several years. Just wanted to do something a little bit different tonight. But that doesn't mean I don't remember and I don't appreciate all the sacrifices that have been made to give me a chance to be right here talking to y'all about absolutely nothing. All right, before we go any further, if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to my channel, turning on notifications, hitting the old thumbs up. Big Brother's right around the corner. Survivor's over right now. I know we got a few game shows out there and things like that, but Survivor's over. The Amazing Race is over. The next big boy up on the block is Big Brother 27. We're starting to see teasers for it. So I figured to talk about that a little bit. Obviously, we're going to talk about Survivor as well. So with Big Brother coming up, subscribe to the channel because who knows what kind of stuff I may be dropping. It's gonna be an exciting season. I'm getting ready. I'm getting a little pumped for it. Always takes a little while to kind of catch my breath after the last season. I'm done with that. I'm ready for another season of it. May be the second best one ever because of course 21 is always going to be in my heart. All right, before we go any further, I know there's a lot to talk about. Before we go any further, let me see who all's out here. Real quick, howdy to all. Amanda, howdy, Amanda. How are you, my friend? Ed's out here as well. Howdy, Ed. Martino Williams, Mark Taylor. Yeah, we'll talk about Survivor a little bit. Marilyn Sutherland, Big Jake. See, Cindy Hire. Hey, Cindy, how are you? Happy Memorial Day as well. Brian Hosteller. Brian, I just saw your little post on being taking a little trip down to my neck of the woods. Sorry we couldn't connect up. Audrey Cobb out here as well. Let's see who we got. Desiree Watts as well. Hey, Desiree. Carol Mosier, Karen Loveland. I just love seeing all the names out here. Ma is angry is out here. Bad evening. Cliff and Chad. Well, Ma, hopefully, as much as I can do, I hope I can change the outlook of the evening. And now I see good evening, Cliff and Chad. All right. Well, I'm feeling better already, Ma. All right. Karen Hummer as well. Howdy, Karen. See, Karen Loveland, I think I got your name, but I don't mind saying it twice. Let me get my mouse going again. Michelle Moore. Let's see, who else do we have? I got all these names out here. I love seeing y'all out here, guys. Chaz is out here. Howdy, Chaz. Paul Long as well. Paul. Misfire. Colleen. Wyatt Garrett. Wyatt, how are you, my friend? Let's see. And Lee Strack and Tommy Braskett and Judy Coletta and Marshall Davis. We'll go ahead and shut it down right there. Hope y'all are all doing fantastic. Misfire saying, I'm in class, but I'm here. All right, now, Misfire, I don't want you to get in trouble. I love talking to you guys, but class, and there obviously are some things that take priority. So I hope you got at least the mute button on, because Lord knows this is not a quiet voice that'd be coming out of your headphones otherwise. I'm sure there's people wearing the AirPods everywhere. They're going, oh my God, here he goes. Top of his lungs yet again. I don't have a whisper voice, as was proven. Inside the Big Brother house, which worries me a little bit. Have y'all seen the new teasers for Big Brother? They've had two different ones out showing. One is with Angela and Matt arguing with each other. The other one is Reagan yelling at Rachel. One of my favorite all-time fights of all. Cocktail cigarettes and making fun of Rachel and all of that. They were just brutal back then. But they've changed it. They've got it in like little whisper voices, which I guess is a thing for some people. Gives me the creeps. But a whole lot of whispering in those first two episodes. Wouldn't do well if I was in the house with a whole bunch of whispers. It would just dominate in all the wrong ways if I did that. But we've seen those particular teasers, and we'll see what comes of it. I do not know. But yeah, a lot of whispering going on. Did y'all know I saw a little post from Reagan? Because he was on, was that Big Brother 13, somewhere right around then when Rachel made her first appearance. He was complaining a little bit, saying, they continue to bring me up. They continue to throw clips of me arguing with Rachel and all of that. He said, I get it. It's a big argument. He said, but that was 10, 12 years ago. He said, they're still making money off of me. And how much money do I see out of it? Zero. Not a single penny goes to Reagan. And I think he's ready to move on with his life. It would be tough if there was something out there where, you maybe weren't completely proud, or you kind of did something. And you're like, God, I can't believe you did that. And to see it year after year after year, and you don't even get paid for it. We don't get paid anything. They've put me on the show a couple times, showing little clips, talking to Kat about the moon landing and carrying some hay or something in one of the competitions, and my BB comics. Yeah, there's no residuals for a reality TV type person. So none of that. I haven't reached a point, maybe another 5 years or no. So I'll be like Reagan, say, stop showing me on that show. Although I kind of doubt it. I don't have any problem. The more they want to show me, the better I am. But Reagan's kind of fed up with it. You sign your soul away. There, he has no say, no control. They can use it for the next 50 years, and it is what it is. You want to do it with me, CBS? Even the things I did that were a little boneheaded now, it's like talking way too loud and being overheard. I don't care. It's part of the game. Yeah, it's screw up. We all make screw ups. Not the end of the world. I own it and move on. Don't think twice. Yeah, I think about it a lot, but I don't worry too much about it. It was what it was. All right, let's see some questions we got in here. Mark is saying July, the beginning of the new season of Big Brother. Will returnees be on? Hope not. I hope not as well. I really, unless it's me, and then I'm very biased and all that. And I've said that before. I would put me on, I'd be fine. I'd love to go in and coach some of these new house guests and just tell them, catch a breath, chill out, play the game, have fun while you're in here, and don't sweat it quite as much as we all do when we get in there. No, I think it's all new. I think it's all new people, no returning players, which perfectly fine with me. Now they do have, I've heard this new season, July 10th is the premiere, 90 minutes long. Then I think on that Sunday episode, that's on a Thursday. Then on a Sunday episode, it's also going to be 90 minutes long. And then Wednesday episodes throughout the entire season are going to be 90 minutes long as well. So you're actually getting 4.5 hours worth of Big Brother as compared to the 3 hours you had during my season. I'm a little jealous. That sounds, just make it CBS, make it the Big Brother channel. Give us a couple hours every single night, and we'd be, some of us be very happy. Wouldn't that'd be fun. But they're doing that. Plus they've got every other Friday this locked in or something. They're going to have 3 different Big Brother All-Stars come in and do kind of a summary. Oh, this is what happened that you didn't see on the episode, things like that. Show a little bit more of the live feeds and all. It's kind of smart. Do it on a Friday night when you don't have as many people watching TV, but the people who are really invested in Big Brother will be able to check that out. So I'm looking forward to it. I don't know who those 3 people are going to be. I could make a few guesses. We'll see. We'll see how it works out. But yeah, we're to that time. But no, I think it's not going to be all new house guests, which I am absolutely fine with it. All right, Karen Hummer is saying, what would be your ultimate Big Brother twist? Like the year they did twins, etc. What would you like to see? I've talked about it before, and I'm sure there's things that could persuade me that this isn't as great a twist as I think it is. I would love to see, though, a twist where you can buy a certain amount of protection. 1 to 2 things. 1, maybe something like Survivor, where you have maybe some kind of immunity that you win, but if you're willing to take a chance, it becomes an even stronger immunity. Maybe it's something along the lines of, hey, Cliff, you just won immunity, but if you're willing to walk across this tightrope or something and do something, if you win it, then if you lose it, you lose the immunity idol completely. I'm saying immunity. I've been watching Survivor to veto. If you lose it, you lose veto. But if you win it, not only do you own veto, but now you get some say somehow and who takes a place. I don't know, something that an extra little bit to the vetoes. Not like a diamond power of veto like Christy had my season, where it's just kind of you get it, and I like the idea that you earn it as part of winning the veto itself would be kind of cool. But I mean, kind of sidetracking. The veto or the twist I've thought about in the past, I think would be fun, is if you set aside a certain amount of the winnings, and you can buy some kind of protections. That on certain days you can put in a bid, for example. Remember the old days, they'd say, who's willing to shave their head or go on slop for the rest of the season in exchange for veto power or a chance to win veto, things like that. What if they did something like that where $750,000. If you're willing to wager $25,000 of your final winnings, assuming you win at the end, if you're willing to give up a certain amount of that, you can buy an extra opportunity at veto or some kind of advantage or the opportunity to play in an extra veto. You see what I'm saying, right? Something where you actually are having to look at the end and figure out, how much am I willing to pay to get a little bit of an advantage? Now, if it's just you, I know if I'm in there and I could have a chance to win a veto and I think I'm in trouble, I'll wager pretty much whatever they'll offer me, I think. But a little tougher what if it's me trying to protect Nicole or Kat or someone that was an ally, but not you. How much money are you willing to set aside to protect someone else that could be loyal to you in your game and all that? I could see that creating some issues if you did something like that. And maybe it's not final winnings. Maybe everyone at the start of the game receives a golden coin or something that they can use. It's kind of like a shot in the dark that they can use at some point later in the season as some special chance, some special time to win a little extra something or give yourself a little bit more of an advantage. That'd be cool. Or what about this? What if there's a twist where everyone gets one gold coin or something, and you can use that gold coin to find out one time how one person voted on one of the votes or something? I don't know. It's something like that. I don't know. I'm curious to see what the twists are going to be. Now, I have heard, and y'all tell me what you think about this. I just read today, there's talk, and apparently production has not confirmed, that's probably not the right word, but has suggested that there's a possibility that they could bring back the AI battle arena in some form. Probably not AI. They wouldn't call it that. We had the multiverse 2 years ago and then the AI stuff last year. This year, some other theme, but that they could have a similar situation where there's actually 3 people nominated and one person has a chance to win, pull themselves off the block on eviction night. And so you don't know who the 2 people are up for eviction until that very last second. Now, I understand a lot of people like that because there's a lot more uncertainty because you don't know who the 2 people are going to be on the block, right? So it's a little bit more of a fluid situation with that twist. The thing I'm not sure I like quite as much about it is the fact that it gives someone like Tucker one more opportunity between the veto competition and the battle back or the AI arena. It gives someone 2 chances to win a competition, get themselves pulled off the block. And as a result, I think it makes it a lot less likely that someone's going to take a big chance in the beginning of the season to go after some big target because there's too much of a chance that they're going to win and then they're going to have a grudge against you, right? I feel like in some ways it stifles gameplay. It forces people to go with the status quo and go for the easy targets and not take the big chances because there's that extra chance to make it. But on the other hand, I see what they're saying. It makes for more fluid Thursday nights. So y'all tell me, did you like AI Arena last year, or would you rather not have it come up again? I think I was pretty sad. I think y'all could tell last season, while I appreciate that it does some cool things, I would have probably preferred not to have that if it was up to me. But it's not up to me. But I'm curious to see what y'all say on that. Because I have heard that could be some sort of twist again this year. You think Janky's going to show up? I'm kind of thinking Janky could start making an appearance right there with Otev and a few other things. We'll see. All right. Tommy Braskett is saying rotating people on Friday's episodes. Yeah, I heard that. And then Chaz is saying, would you do it? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, now, I don't think I can just fly out there and bang on the door and say, hey, guys, did you let me in? I feel like that's the kind of thing that's a little bit more invitation only. Yeah, I'd love to do it. That'd be so much fun. I did hear not only are there going to be 3 people, 3 all-stars. We'll see once they name them what we think about that term, but 3 all-stars who are going to be rotating every Friday. Of course, it's only every other Friday. Figure it's like a 12-week season. Suddenly that's only 6 slots. So each of the 3 could do it twice, I guess. And they're going to have some special guest stars and things like that. Yeah, it'd be fun. I'd have a blast talking about it. Can you believe he did that? What a bonehead. And they said, well, no, we were talking about you, Cliff. Yeah, no, I'd love to do it. I think that would be a lot of fun. Anything that keeps me involved in Big Brother, I'm always up for. And it's always fun to hobnob with other folks and criticize. You do that. I mean, you're expected to do that. Talk about what you saw, good and bad, and all that. No judgment. It's a hard game. Y'all know me. I don't judge people based on how they play the game, but what they're like when they get out. All right. Marshall Davis is saying, headed to Illinois. Have a good night. Well, Marshall, have a fantastic time in Illinois, the Windy City. I don't know, maybe not. I watched the Indy 500 a little bit. We watched Formula One and Indy 500. I gotta say, I watched a lot more Formula One than I do Indy, but it was interesting watching those cars. I felt so bad. One guy was out before the race even started. That's always tough. But whether it's Chicago or somewhere else in Illinois, of course, Indy wasn't in Illinois, is it? There's my geography. No, it's in Indiana, of course. But have fun in Chicago or wherever else Illinois brings you to, Marshall. I went up there March of this year. Loved it. Little cold. Now I know why they call it the Windy City. Oh, wind whipped through those buildings and froze my little tuchus off. But still pretty cool city. God, great food while I was up there. So that was pretty good. All right. Judy Coletta is saying, will you be going to any of the Savannah Banana games since you have the Texas Tailgaters playing there now? I read about that. And then Karen Loveland saying, love the banana games. Do they spend more time practicing baseball or dance moves? Yeah, most of y'all probably know the Savannah Bananas, right? But if you don't, picture the Harlem Globetrotters, except for baseball. So they just get out there, they do silly. They have funny. Instead of the guy just pitching, he jumps around and does some kind of Bee Gees, Saturday Night Live, Saturday Night Fever dance, and then throws the ball and things like that. The catchers jumping around. They just have fun. They do have some special rules. I think, for example, if a fan catches a foul ball, if the fan catches it, the player's out, the batter's out, just like one of the fielders caught it. There's some things like that. But the Savannah Bananas are the ones that have been behind it forever. They just announced they're going to have a fourth team. They've got the I don't know what the other Party Timers or something. They've got some other teams around the nation that they always play. Well, they announced they're going to have the Tailgaters, the Texas Tailgaters, a fourth team in the Banana Ball League that'll play the Savannah Bananas and the other two teams. It's just a way to get in a lot more stadiums. They sell out. They sell out Minute Maid Park, Daikin Park now. The Astros home facility, all the other ballparks around the country that host these guys, they make a fortune doing it. They're on TV now. Sharon, I follow as well, but Sharon follows the Savannah Bananas, and they're always pretty funny to watch. Pretty good athletes too. So yeah, I have not seen the Savannah Bananas. The last time they were in the Houston area, they played at one of our minor league ballparks, and there was so much demand for tickets that you had to sign up, not to get a ticket. You had to sign up to get a lottery ticket, which if your ticket was drawn, then you could buy tickets to the game itself. And mine did not get picked. They're huge. Amazing turnouts for them. A lot of fun. I've seen them on TV as well. So yeah, we got the Texas Tailgaters coming up. So yeah, I'll be cheering them on. That's fun. It's always fun to take regular sports and then put a little twist on, make them a little bit different for the kids and everyone else. So the casual fan, you get a whole new type of fan in. So yeah, bring on the Texas Tailgaters. It's gonna be fun. All right. Desiree Watts is saying, do we still get live feeds this season? As far as we know, I think so. And Ed's saying, heard Rewind was back. Oh, please let that be the case, Ed. I'm so ready for it. It was so hard. I mentioned this last week. I think I probably said this every week we talk about live feeds. It was hard watching last season and being able to go back, because I tried to stay up and watch all this, but sometimes even if there's two conversations going on in two different rooms, it's tough to keep track. I got two ears, but they can't necessarily filter out what the other side's saying. So sometimes it's tough to follow one conversation, and as soon as I would cut over to the other one, then something comes up, and if you have Rewind, it makes it that much better. But yeah, Desiree, I think we're going to have live feeds. They cut them off in Big Brother Canada, but I am absolutely convinced that there's a different business model, different cash flow model for the U.S. Big Brother than there is for Canada. Canada uses a lot more sponsors, Wendy's and clothing stores. They have a lot of sponsors that fund a lot of that program. So they don't necessarily need the feeds the way Paramount Plus needs them here. I absolutely believe if you didn't have live feeds, Paramount Plus would lose a massive number of subscribers to their streaming service. So I think here you have to have the live feeds in order to keep it going. So I don't think they're getting rid of it. My big question is, are they going to have situations where they start? We always heard they cut the rewind, so it's tougher to go back and catch stuff that maybe they said that you didn't want. Maybe they were wishing they did say afterwards. I could see, and I hope this isn't the case, where somewhere down the road they cut the live feeds in the middle of the night, or they cut the live feeds more at certain periods throughout the week, just because they still want to honor people who want to watch live feeds, but don't feel as obligated to show 24 hours a day. It's what makes Big Brother special. I watched the Winner Survivor. We'll talk about that in a second, but I watched the Winner Survivor showing their fiance or showing a video of them telling their fiance they'd won. It is a whole different game when you finish up Survivor or The Amazing Race. Then you go back home and you have to sit for 6 months and wait until everyone sees it and gets caught up with the knowledge that you already have. Whereas with Big Brother, I was in that house knowing every second of that I was in that house. Everyone knew what was going on. Now, yeah, sometimes live feeds were off, but you don't know when they're on or off. So I always assumed that everything I said and did, my family immediately knew. Everyone watching, all the passionate fans immediately knew. Eviction night was always live, so there was it's happening at that point. You get out of the house at the end of the season, and everyone immediately is talking to you. I feel like that's a little bit tougher. Survivor, at least, you get a chance to kind of get back used to real world and all of that, and get back into your own family life and everything. And then suddenly you start getting hit with all the fans questioning and talking and all of that. It's not the case with Big Brother. I saw my family at the same time. You're just inundated with social media and Parade Magazine and Entertainment Week. Everyone wanting to ask you questions and find out what you did good, what you think you did bad, all that. It is overwhelming. So yeah, I want the live feeds. That's what makes it such a different show. Stressful, but a completely different show. All right, Brian Hustler saying, janky hidden immunity. I can see him having fun with that. Or what if you just have to listen to that freaking song until you find the hidden veto or something? That would irritate you right there as well. Ma saying, like BB Bucks. Yeah, basically. That's kind of what I'm thinking, something like that. Miss Fire saying, Team America twist. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Team America was 16 with Donnie and Frankie, right? And who was Derek in there as well? I was okay with that. And they had to do different little funky tasks and all that. What I did not like was America's Player back in season 8 with Eric Stein, because I felt like he didn't get a chance to play his game. But if you just have a little silly task, that always makes a little more entertainment. So I'm absolutely fine with that. Ed is saying Pandora's Box coming back. We didn't have it during my season. That could have been interesting. What if there was a Pandora's Box where it brought Jack back or something? I mean, I saw him as the biggest threat in the early stages of the game. That would have been horrible. But what if I also had the chance to bring back Ovi, for example? Not as a battle back, but just some kind of a start over. I don't know. Or a lot of times Pandora's Box just is like a rewind or something. There's a few weeks I would have been curious to see a rewind take place. But I got to say, from someone whose HOH was already kind of hijacked by that Diamond Power veto that Christie had, it would have irritated me to no end if I had one HOH and maybe one veto, or someone I supported one veto, and then to have that all rewound and none of it makes a difference. That would have chapped me to no end. But yeah, Pandora's Box would always be fun. Or just have a Pandora's Box where the punishment isn't necessarily game related, but just an irritating thing. Like one season, Rachel Riley showed back up, and Mr. Spectacular Jesse showed up and just hung out, and you had to listen to them talk for 24 hours. That's always fun when you do something like that. They are with Pandora's Box. That'd be cool. Clinton Merchant. Clinton, how are you doing, sir? Like a toss-up, one lose, one slip up, you're done in the competition. Yeah, I like those. I think that would be very interesting. They had one season where, and I don't remember the context of it. Y'all probably remember it better than I do, but I know there was one where someone had to either accept a challenge or it saved them by walking across, not a tightrope, but one of those flat ribbons or whatever, strung between two areas. You had to walk 15 feet or so. And I remember who it was, but they practiced for several days. And if they made it all the way across, they were safe, or something happened that was good. I remember that was very stressful watching them do it. Almost as stressful as watching Caitlin Herman putting together that puzzle during her season. I felt so bad for her. At the time, I laughed just like everyone else. Oh, felt so bad for her. But she after a while eventually learned to embrace it and have fun with it. I think. Still got to hurt though, right? They were so certain that she was going to solve that puzzle. Didn't quite happen. All right. Tommy Braska is saying, hate it when they all go with the house. I agree. Coming from someone who very much voted oftentimes with the house. But as a viewer, I absolutely agree with you. Yeah, one of my big regrets playing that game of Big Brother, it probably didn't really affect anything at all. But if I had it to do over again, one of the things I absolutely would have done is not vote to send OV out on day number 1. It was a unanimous vote. The guy didn't deserve that. I'd been on the block. Fortunately, Sam used the veto on me, so I got pulled off. But I still, between that and getting banished on day 1, I felt like I was such a huge target in that house that my days were so limited that I didn't want to do anything to jeopardize my standing in that house or anything that would make me stand out. And so I just stayed quiet, and I wish I hadn't, because when it came to vote, Ovi, I think he understood. But if I had it to do over again, I would have gone to Christy and Jack and said, look, I know it's going to be unanimous just because he seems like a nice enough guy. Can I give him one vote and do that? Of course, then maybe Kat would have gotten chapped with me for voting to send her out the door. Yeah, you never know how that's going to go. But I get it from a viewer. Voting with the house is just wishy-washy, but you're in there and the tiniest little thing can put people against you, and you're so paranoid and so focused on not doing anything that's going to make you a target. And sometimes that means that you vote with the house, even if it takes away the drama. And yeah, but again, one of my big regrets, if I had it to do over again, Ovi would not have gotten my vote to go out the door. Not necessarily Cat deserved it either, but I would have voted to keep Ovi just because he absolutely deserved it. What can you do? Regrets, and coulda, shoulda, wouldas, and all that. All right, Marilyn is saying, are they going to have a live move-in? They have not announced it yet. I would think so, but some nights they have like a Tuesday, Wednesday, 2-part move-in and all that. I don't think they're doing that this time, because we've heard there's going to be a Thursday night show, and then there won't be another show until Sunday. So I could see it being a live move-in on a Thursday night, but there's no guarantee. They may move in on a Monday or Tuesday, and Thursday they'll wrap it all up into an edited package, which I'm actually okay with. I mean, it's the only I say I'm okay with. The only thing I do like about live move-ins is then the feeds immediately turn on, and you get live feeds for that first day or two, which I think is very important to figure out, to see the relationships and the alliances being formed and all of that. If they came into the house on a Monday or Tuesday and you didn't see the first episode till Thursday, that means we don't get live feeds for the first few days. And I think we would miss that. So yeah, maybe I'm not so cool with that. I'm trying to think during my season, live feeds would have been fine. I would have had a blast with it as well, but there was a certain safety net in knowing that we had a couple of days before the feeds went live and all of that. In our house, it was to get certain people to stop singing all day long. Tommy Bracco, who couldn't talk without singing and all that, and got called out a lot for it. So we probably need a little practice before they turn the feeds on for us. But yeah, I'm okay if they do a live move in. But I think it'll just be a one night. Everyone comes in during that 90 minutes, and that's plenty of time to get everyone in the house, introduce them, and still maybe have a first competition, things like that. That'd be all right. All right, Brian Hustler is saying, heard an interview with Julie saying that she loves hosting and doesn't have any plans to step aside. I wouldn't either. And if I'm Jeff Probst or Julie Chen or Phil Keegan, I'm not going anywhere. What a cush situation, especially for Julie. I mean, at least Phil Keegan travels around wherever the Amazing Race goes. Jeff Probst has to go hang out in Fiji, and he has to stand out there in the rain and the sun while they're doing competitions. Julie isn't in the house. She shows up once a week. I'd love to think that she watches all of the episodes and knows intimately everything that's going on, but I have a feeling she has a little assistance in keeping her up to speed on what's going on as well. I don't blame her. and it wouldn't be the same without Julie. I would have fun if you had a host. If Julie at some point said, I want to be a little more involved, and she occasionally showed up at some of the challenges, or I don't know, just got a little more interactive. There's a big difference between us and Survivor. Survivor, Jeff Probst is sitting there leading the conversations at Tribal Council and asking these hard questions. With us, we don't have any of that. We just show up. Julie asked one or two questions, but not really game related. It's not trying to delve into any deep, dark secrets or anything. For us, it's really just those 2 90-second speeches, and there's not a lot of input from her. I'd love to see her try to do it a little differently one of these times, just to be different. But I gotta say, when I saw Julie Chen on the stage on day number 1, that's when I knew it was real. Until that point, even being in the studio or anything, when I saw Julie, I thought, oh, I'm in the big leagues now. This is real. They aren't sending me home at this point in time. So yeah, I was, during my first, how sometimes you get in your mind just a little hiccup. I was so worried for some reason that my first vote, instead of saying hi Julie or howdy Julie, I was going to call her Judy. I've never called Julie Chen Judy Chen in my entire life, but it's one of those things that just popped in my head, and then that's all I could think about for the rest of that week is, oh God, don't say Judy. Don't say Judy. She'll hate me forever. I mean, that's all that was going through my mind. That, and I wish I could vote for against Save Ovi instead. But yeah, that was just my little thing when I did that first vote, just because I was nervous about knowing it's live and all of that. So that was what was going through this brain that particular moment in time. All right, let's see. 733, because we definitely talked about Survivor in a second as well. Chad's saying, will you be doing live daily feed updates again? As long as I can stay awake and make it happen. Yeah, absolutely. And then Ed is saying, you did great with your recaps and even with no rewind. Well, thank you so much, Ed. It was a little more challenging. I found a little recording device that would let me record, but it was a portable hard drive, and it just was hard to rewind. It was very difficult to make work. But yeah, I'll do another season of it. Now I do have a regular 9 to 5 job, so I have to balance it against that as well. That's what weekends are for, sleeping, right? But yeah, I'm planning to do it unless CBS just does something really weird to the whole way this thing works. So I'll do it. And for those of you who haven't seen it before, there may be a few out there. I try to take everything that happened overnight and recap it into anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes or so. First of the season, where there's so many people talking conversations, it's tough to keep it under 30 minutes. As we get towards the end, not that tough, but try to do it real quick, because I know there's other people out there that will recap 6 hours or 8 hours of conversations, and they'll take 3 hours recapping it, right? Long, drawn out, very in-depth, very incredible discussions, which I'm a huge fan of, but a lot of people don't have time for that. My thinking was 15, 20 minutes, enough that you can listen to it while you're driving to work and talk a little bit about it with friends around the water cooler, coffee pot, whatever. So that's what I'm aiming for. And yeah, I'll be doing this summer again. Looking forward to it. Getting my sleep in now because of it. All right, Mark Taylor saying, Survivor season is over. Did you like the winner? I wanted Eva after her war with fire. Yeah, and then let me do this other one as well. Chaz saying, were you surprised that Joe ended up being the person in the final 3 that didn't have much of a chance? Yeah, I was. And I absolutely understand everyone cheering for Eva, especially because she had so much problem with the fire. Oh, poor Camilla. I talk about someone having problems with fire. She just couldn't make it happen, right? Stress gets the best of you, and I understand you kind of fall apart at sometimes. But Eva was going strong, and then the wind's starting to blow off to the side, and you think, oh, this edit's not looking good for Eva. And I know a lot of people were cheering for Eva. I've got to say, first of all, I am absolutely perfectly 100% fine with Kyle winning this thing by the end. And maybe that's a sign of the speech he gave, that by the end, I was really kind of hoping it was going to be him. And I'm not sure at the very beginning if that was the case or not, but he sold me. I felt like he did a good job. I think it absolutely cratered Eva and Joe to have Kyle bring up the fact that he had been behind that whole trick about, Shaheen having an idol, and then it was all just a big act and all that. Eva had tried to claim some credit for that particular week, and they said, oh no, we lied to you. And I think that was huge. I think the jury, when they saw that, realized that Kyle really had been playing an amazing game behind the scenes. I am 100% fine with Kyle winning this thing. And as I said, I should have put spoiler alert, but y'all seen it right at this point in time. So yeah, I'm perfectly fine. I mentioned before, if you haven't done it, go out on Instagram, find Kyle Frazier. He's on Instagram now. He has got, I think it's a story, so it'll only be up there for another 12 hours or so. He's got a video of him telling his wife that he won. Yeah, you're supposed to not say anything, and we all say something, right? Well, he told his wife, and he didn't date it, so who knows when, but when he came back, he said, do you want to know? Yeah, I think I need to know. He said, I won the whole thing. And it's so, her expression, she is in shock. He says, yeah, I told you I was going to figure out some way for us to become rich. We're millionaires, baby. And she's in shock. And anyway, it's a cute video to watch if you haven't done it. So check out Kyle's Instagram on that. But no, I'm fine with him winning it. As far as Joe and all that, I went in saying that, and y'all know me, I always cheer for the underdog. And I didn't think that I was going to be cheering for Joe necessarily when that thing started, because he's so dominated. Not even competitions. I mean, Kyle won competitions, even won a competition as well. Joe just kind of dominated the character, just the conversations. His voice was so forceful, or his persona was so forceful. I just felt like he was in control of the game, just as the person he is. And so I wasn't sure that I wanted him to win, but by the end, where even now suddenly a PhD or whatever, and Kyle's an attorney, and Joe's like just a fireman. He really fantastic charisma. And I found at the end kind of cheering for Joe where I maybe didn't at the very beginning. I would have been fine with any one of the three winning it, but I don't know. At the end, I almost was not as fine. Or not, that's not the right word. I wasn't cheering as hard for Eva to win it as the other two, and I think it all just came down to I've said this before. I don't think she had to fight as much for it, and maybe that's not giving her enough credit. But I feel like her path was almost too easy, having Joe there and all of that, and she just almost came across a little too confident during her speeches and conversations and all of that. And that's probably a little bias on my part to even say that. But at the end, I'd really caught myself cheering for Joe, which I didn't think was going to happen. But yeah, I would have been fine with any one of those three winning it. All right, Miss Fire is saying, how does Kyle rank as a Survivor winner in a new era? That's a fantastic question. And let's see. I'm going to look at a couple of these questions we'll talk about. Tim and Iceman. Ticeman. Sorry about that one. Ticeman 1000. Kyle was under the radar the entire game. He played perfectly. I can't believe he kept a secret with his stuff with Camilla. And then Ma saying Kyle was underrated as the winner. I agree with all of those. How does he rank? I don't think anyone's going to rank him at the very top. And I think that's unfortunate. There's a lot of people that call this a boring season, didn't think it was one of the best ones. It's a little too predictable at times. And I get all of that. But you know what? When we play the game of Big Brother or they play the game of Survivor, their job is not to create maximum drama for the entertainment of the viewing public. Their job is to make it to the end. And if you can do that without creating a lot of drama that bounces back on you, so much the better. So I'm not going to blame Kyle at all for that. I think he played a pretty good game, because now as I think back, now that he's won, I see that he really protected Camilla for quite a while when people were ready to go after her. And he managed to change the narrative a few times. He managed to throw suspicion on some other people a few times. He was part of that big group, but he wasn't necessarily locked in as the tightest member of that big group, right? And he could have easily been booted a couple of times. So I think he did fantastic. Where would he rank? We got 48 seasons of Survivor so far. How do you even tell? Every season is so different. I will say this. I like him as a winner more than some of the past winners we've seen for the past 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 seasons. In some ways he came out of nowhere. He definitely did work under the radar. And yet he protected people he needed to protect. He recognized people who were big targets. He got some shade thrown in their direction. I think he just strategically handled it very well. He was a very logical player, and I admire and respect the logical players. I'm looking forward to meeting him at some point in time and saying howdy to him. I'm good. Is he going to come back for season 50? What do y'all think? That's the next big one, is who's going to be on season 50. And I've heard a few rumors, but we'll see. Ma saying, nervous for the cast reveal on Wednesday. Ma, thank you. I didn't realize the cast reveal was going to be on Wednesday. I'd heard it was coming up. I just busy with other stuff. Now, I will say this. I have heard without hearing, I know there's some rumors and some leaks out there, and I've intentionally avoided it. But I did hear one leak. Well, I'm not going to mention any specific names, but I did hear that there's a whole lot more people from, say, the last 10 seasons than the first 40 seasons or first 39 or whatever seasons. There's a lot of Regency bias in terms of who's making it onto this show for 50. And if that's the case, I'm a little disappointed. I want to see the old school players. I want to see how Jerry from season 2 matches up with no, God, I can't even think of the names. I just say it because I'll say them wrong. I'd love to see some of the past winners going up against some of the newer winners, and not making it just about the most recent seasons. But they figure we as a viewing public have short memories, and for the most part, that's probably true. If you have a lot of people who were in the earliest seasons of Survivor, there's going to be a lot of people who probably weren't even alive back then, don't know who they are. So I'm sure from a viewership standpoint, if they have a lot more from the last 5 years, I understand why they're doing it. But I'd love to see some of the old school folks playing as well in the game. Now, I have heard as well there's going to be 20 people instead of just 16 or 18, right? We'll see. I'm looking forward to it. We'll see. All right, Macaulay is saying, me too want old school. I'd love to see it. And when I say old school, I'm not talking about the same people we've seen over and over again. I've met Boston Rob. Seems like a nice guy. Sandra, a queen, absolutely one of the most friendly people I've ever met. She's incredible. I shared a taxi with her. Just so nice. But there are people who have been on so many seasons that you kind of, I've seen how they play the game. So I don't necessarily want to see someone who has played season after season after season, but there are other people, Spencer or Chaos Cat, or Jerry I've mentioned. I know there's some, Ruben that has had some health. There's people that can't do it, but I could easily go back if I just had to listen from me and pick out people. Get a Johnny Fairplay in there. I think he's moved on with life, but there's some big people who made major marks in the game of Survivor that probably are not getting calls, and I think that's unfortunate. I'd love to see some of those folks go head to head with each other. Even if you had two tribes, old school versus new school or something, how would that? Think of Big Brother All Stars, even though no one liked that season, and I'm right there with you. But how cool was it that we got Kaiser and Janelle and Keisha in from kind of old school to go up against some of the people that were brand new to Big Brother and all that? Didn't work out so well for them, but it was still to get them cool to get them back on our TV screen. I'd love to see. I mentioned Jerry because I just saw a post from her. It looks like she didn't get the call, and that's unfortunate. I'd love to see her come back. She was the original villain. That was in season 2. I remember at the time, I was like, oh man, she's just rotten to the core. But then now we know that you got to have villain in a lot of these seasons, and she was a fantastic villain. So yeah, we'll see. I'm extremely excited as well on Wednesday. I'm looking forward to it. Absolutely. All right, Ty Smith saying the show focused more on Eva and Joe for the longest time, and maybe that's one of the reasons I wasn't cheering for him as much. Joe brought her to the end. I do feel like she rode coattails a little bit, which if you can do it, do it. But I do feel like that's probably true. Judy Kaleda is saying every one of the 3 got a vote, which is cool. I'm glad they all did. You hate to do all of this and not even get a single vote. That's a little tough. I am glad they all got the votes, but you're right. There was a lot of focus just on the edit with Joe and Eva and her story in particular. And he did protect her. I mean, he, to the very end, he did that. How surprised was he when she revealed some of her educational stuff and all that? I really admire Eva for going on to a show that forces you to face such a fear, which being on the autism spectrum, I'm sure having to be outgoing and deal with stressful situations has got to be one of the worst possible situations you could do. So nothing but props and admiration for her willing to do that. I did want her at the end. If she was going to win, I wanted her to win regardless of her having that condition and not because she had that condition. And does that make sense? I I would not want to think that someone won because they had a situation that people gave them kind of extra credit for, if that makes sense. I would want her to win, saying, yeah, she may have been on the spectrum. Didn't stop her from playing the game though, and she deserves it based on gameplay. And I kind of felt like they were riding the line on whether the votes were going. If she had made it, well, she made it to the end. I really was curious to see if people were going to vote for her only because of that. And I don't think that really happened. So props to the jury as well for voting, I think, based on who they thought deserved the game the most. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of Eva just for doing that, because I know how hard it is in that house. And, Big Brother 24 hours a day. Maybe with them, it wasn't quite that, but you still have the cameramen all around you. Those challenges, especially that challenge where she had to finish or else everyone on her team was in jeopardy. That's hard for anyone. And then if you have some special challenges, hats off, tip of the hat to Eva. All right. Judy is saying old school doesn't understand how new era is played. I do think, regardless of whether you're talking Big Brother or Survivor, there is a different gameplay, and people that maybe played fantastic games in early seasons would perhaps get thrown to the wolves in some of these later seasons where everything's a lot more brutal. I know on Survivor, it's I've got to build my resume. It's not about just getting to the end. So I got to have this big resume. I've got to turn on someone, because if I don't turn on someone, then how am I going to show how strategic I was? Kyle did that a little bit, but at the same, and even him, if he hadn't had that Shaheen move and all of that, would he have gotten the votes that he got? Maybe not. So maybe, because remember, this season of Survivor, we had David and everyone saying, let's do it differently. This is all about strong people making it to the very end. We're not going to be meat shields. We're going to do it differently than Survivor's been done for the past decade or so. Somewhat they did that, and they stuck together longer than most of those type of alliances do. But at the end, you still had people saying, I've got to make this big strategic, I've got to do this huge blindside. I've got to backstab someone in order to get credit, to show what I can do in this game. So it is what it is. And I'm okay with that. Chaz is saying, can you talk about Jessica falling off the wall comp? How did you not laugh yourself off the wall? You know what, Chaz, I was just so focused on not being the first person off the wall. It was hard. You'd have to go back and watch our season. I thought it was going to be straight beams across that you could just hold on like this. Ours were all at angles like this. And so you'd have high and low, and I never could get a good purchase. And once you moved your hands, it got so slippery. And I was not feeling great about my position on that wall. And I just kept thinking, God, surely Jessica at least is going to fall before me. But I don't know how much they showed on the episode itself. Jessica must have sat up there for 15, 20 minutes saying, oh my God, I'm going to fall, but it's too far. It's too far. It's like, it's not really that far. It's 10 feet. And the padding on this stuff is 6 feet of padding. I mean, it's like a gymnastics vault pit or something. But she was just so nervous. And in my mind, all I could think was, you're not going to have a choice. It's not like you have any other option. You either fall or you stay up here. But I remember I was all saying, it's okay. It's okay if you fall, Jessica. And when she did, I know, I think all of us to some degree laughed about it, but we had no clue it became such a meme, such a big deal in the real world. She fell, and I can't remember how much longer I lasted, 10, 15 minutes. So, and then I finally realized I'm not beating Jackson and Tommy. I really thought Nicole was going to win that one. She was so pumped up for it. She's petite. I thought, God, she's going to win this. She's going to carry us this week. And when she did, and it was just devastating for us as well. But between Nicole and Jackson, Mickey, and Tommy, I thought, what am I doing up here? I didn't give up. I just, I'm holding a little more mass up than some of those other folks. But the second I fell, within 5 seconds of me falling, Christy fell. And I found out later, I was sitting there saying, God, just don't let me fall before Jessica. Christy was doing the same thing for me, saying, I can't stay up here, but I'm not falling before Cliff. There's no way I'm falling before Cliff. So then once I fell, and she fell as well. Yeah, we had no clue. What? I'm not surprised because we laughed as well. I've seen videos of Jackson Mick up there just laughing. We were laughing not as much because of her. We were laughing just because she was so paranoid, so nervous about falling into these pits that are just so much padding. For those of you who don't know, I've been asked this before. I think I may mention it here, but if not, how do you get up on there? During the commercial break, we walk out there and we see that it's the wall challenge. It's like, oh, this is going to be fun. They have ladders for us and a couple of people standing there. You very quickly go crawl up the ladder, get position, and they pull the ladder away. And so that's how we ended up on the wall itself to start with. So just an FYI, I'm behind the scenes while all that took place during the commercial break. And then I just sat there thinking, oh, I can't believe this may not be my challenge, but it's so cool I'm getting to do the wall challenge. It was still cool thinking about that. All right, Ma is saying, wonder how camera people change shifts. I don't know. I asked that out during the after party with one of the cameramen. I said, hey, how many cameramen do you have? And they didn't really tell me. I think they said something, and unfortunately I forgot. I was kind of overwhelmed. They did say though that during the evening they only have a couple of cameramen, a few cameramen keeping track. During the day there's cameramen everywhere. I don't know. I have a feeling there's a lot more camera people behind those walls than I even have any clue about. Every once in a while we would hear them talking. They're supposed to be quiet, but every once in a while we'd hear whispering. We would hear once or twice, we heard someone's cell phone go off, which was a big no-no apparently. And I know sleeping in that target room, there was a long hallway on the other side of the room, our room. And do you know how I know that? Because some woman, I assume it's a woman. That may be a bad assumption. Someone was wearing high heels. I assume it's a woman. Who knows? Someone was wearing high heels, and at the same time every day I could hear those heels click, 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 clicking on the hallway as they walked from one end of our room towards the other end of the building or whatever. And it's like clockwork. I'd hear this person walking down the hall. Never said anything. I hope they didn't get in trouble for it, but I definitely heard someone walking down the hallways. You know what's incredible is you could hear. I mean, we'd hear that. We'd hear other people kind of walking, not so loud. There's some stairs back there, apparently. You almost could tell who people were based on the way they sounded. I definitely knew that people inside the house. I could be facing away, and just by hearing the gait of someone walking up behind me, I knew if it was Tommy. I knew if it was Christy. The little things, I couldn't tell you how I knew. It's just being in the house for so long, after a while, you learn everything about each of those people to the point where just the way they breathed, the way their feet made contact. Something about I would know someone was walking around the corner, know who it was before they ever even turned around the corner. So yeah, you get to know everyone way too well inside that house. All right, what else do we have on here? We'll shut down here in a second. Miss Fire saying, will they have a Mission Impossible themed luxury comp? That would be cool. Hey, I've been watching Mission Impossible because there's a new one out. Was it Final Reckoning? I think I was a couple of Mission Impossibles behind. So Sharon and I binge watched a little Mission Impossible this weekend. Now I got the theme song stuck in my head. Bring it on. I love Mission Impossible, the old school, the old new school, the theme song. My family went on vacation out to the Hill Country, Texas when I was a kid, out in the middle of absolute nowhere. We didn't have any TV, radio. There was nothing. We were so far out in the middle of nowhere, Texas, West Texas, Hill Country, Texas. There was no communication whatsoever. I know my dad gave my brother and I this whole speech about do not get injured while you're out here. Don't reach your hand in any hole and get bitten by a rattlesnake or anything, because the nearest town is an hour and a half away. And they don't have a clinic that's going to do much for if you hurt yourself. So just be safe, guys. But we were that far out there. We get to this place. And again, no TV, no radio. It's way before satellite or internet or anything. They had a one album. I don't even think it was cassette tapes back then. One album and a record player. And it was the greatest theme songs of the 70s or something. And there were two songs on there I played over and over again and drove my parents absolutely crazy. That was the Mission Impossible theme and the Pink Panther theme. I would just play one after the other of Mission Impossible, and I'd be out running, outside with the stereo cranked and acting like I'm a spy out in the middle of nowhere and all that. Played it way too much, and my parents finally said, "You got to shut it down, Cliff. We've heard that song enough." They're wishing they brought some albums with them, but yeah, way out in the middle of nowhere. So yeah, bring on Mission Impossible themed anything for Big Brother, and I'm all for it, all into it. All right, let's see. You don't even talk about it. I'll answer a couple quick questions. Didn't even talk about my background. Did y'all know yesterday, 48th anniversary of Star Wars release, right? I mean, it's not May the 4th or anything like that, but 48 years ago yesterday, Star Wars was released for the first time. I saw that in the news. Thought, well, I got to honor it somehow. So my little Instagram teaser has me juxtaposed with a bunch of Star Wars people and all that. I remember when it came out, my family and I did not go see Star Wars because we'd had friends and family who said, "Oh, you got to go see this movie that just came out called Smokey and the Bandit." Came out at the same time. So we all went to the theater to see Smokey and the Bandit. Great show. I'm not criticizing it at all, but I'd heard Star Wars was such a fantastic movie. One point I had to get up, go to the bathroom, get some popcorn. And so I just kind of quietly snuck into the other theater and saw just a few minutes of Star Wars. And it was during the fight between Ben Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader with the lightsabers and all that. And saw just a minute or two and went back out, told my parents after Smokey and the Bandit was over, we have got to come back and see Star Wars. And so the very next weekend we came back and saw it, and fan for life. I was there premiere episode for Empire Strikes Back. And I think for Battle Return of the Jedi as well. So huge Star Wars fan. All right. Misfire saying, Big Brother passed on me this year. Oh, well, there's always next year, right? Passed on me this year, but I'll still watch. I still have former castmates, still hope former castmates make it on. And then Tillman Tysman 1000 said, didn't get the call this year. We'll try next year since they'll be out of college. You know what? Here's the thing. Yeah, and keep trying, because first of all, your personal situations change. You become a different person every year, and so you've got a different story to tell. But at the same time, every year they're going to be looking for slightly different people. I read a thing saying that they may this year have been looking for people, very intentionally looking for people who are going to be argumentative or causing chaos and things like that. I don't know why they think that, other than just these teaser ads have been showing a lot of arguments, but it could be the theme or the casting people. It could just be the person who saw your video, hadn't had their first cup of coffee that morning when they saw your video. Next year it'll be a completely different person, completely different result. I got this show, and I'd like to think I had something to do with it, but I also recognize there's a huge amount of luck that was involved. I could have sent in a video 20 times in a row and perhaps not gotten on. I showed a casting call, just happened to have the right person there to talk to. If I'd sent a video, maybe I would have had the right person checking out. You don't know. So don't ever assume that if you didn't get a call, it's because of anything having to do with you. Because it could be, but it also could very easily be it just wasn't the right fit. And so keep on trying, because it sure doesn't hurt anything, right? And you never know. All it takes is one time, right? We've seen that. People have tried out, even the Amazing Race, those guys this year, they tried out multiple times and they finally got on. So perseverance pays off in these reality shows. The reality is there's a lot more people trying out than they have spots. So you got to just keep trying it over and over again. So do not lose out hope, because I'm counting on you to get on the show and be representing us on one of these next seasons. All right, it's about 8 o'clock. We'll shut down quickly. Cindy Hire saying Destination X premieres tomorrow night. Oh, thank you, Cindy. I've seen the teasers for it. Josh is on there and all that. Chaz is saying, are you going to watch? Absolutely, I'm going to watch. But I'm glad you mentioned it, because I'm going to go out as soon as we shut down. I'm going to make sure I've got it set up to record, because, yeah, I want to see how it works. It sounds like an intriguing deal. I've watched a few more episodes of The Brain Game from BBC or from UK. Such a tough game to play. The thinking that goes into that's incredible. But, yeah, I'll definitely be watching Destination X, so I will check that out. I think it's The Brain Game, the Genius. It's the Genius Game, not The Brain Game, the Genius Game. Check it out if you have it. I've had to go back and watch it several times just to keep track of some of these strategies. Very complex, but that's pretty good too. But yeah, definitely Destination X. I'll be watching that. All right, guys, I am going to shut it down, call my long holiday done, and go out, find Destination X to record for tomorrow and do all that. So, guys, y'all have a fantastic rest of the week. It's the last week in May. When I'm talk to y'all next Monday. It's going to be June. Is that not incredible? Year's going by so fast. So y'all have a fantastic week. Stay safe. Stay cool. A little warm down here. Send me DMs if you got anything specific you want to talk about next week. But until then, guys, if you haven't already done so, subscribe, turn on notifications, hit the thumbs up. But more importantly than that, just have fun with your next week. I will see y'all next week. Until then, SKD 143. Cheers, my friends. Bye. God, an hour goes so fast. It's incredible. All right, guys, we'll talk to y'all later. Have a great